By focusing only on meat and grocery, we can do those things to the best of our abilities.
No frills, no gimmicks. You're gonna get top quality meat, top quality produce, top quality customer service.
They always tell us, sell it as low as you can. Sell it as low as you possibly can.
And we work hard so we can keep those prices lower.
And that's what Fareway does to a lot of people. They take care of people.
I have one thing to accomplish, and it's that.
Parker McCollum. Burn It Down Tour 2024, June 27th, Wells Fargo Arena. ACM Best New Artist, Parker McCollum Live, with special guest Corey Kent. On sale now at iowaeventcenter.com. Parker McCollum Live.
What does it take to grow beauty and colors more vibrant? More water, the right sun, nutrients. It takes all of that and more. Like family. At Knoyer Garden Center and Glass House Market, family is present in everything we do. Generation after generation. From our family to our employees who make you feel right at home. That's the difference you'll find when you shop Knoyer Garden Center.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
All right, what's up? It is the 20th of May. Welcome to Two Guys here on Iowa Everywhere. Chris Hassel is back in the state of Florida. I'm here in the old home office. Together, we join up in the Channel Seed Studios with a lot to talk about. We've got former Cyclone, who's the biggest star in the NBA right now.
We finally have some Cyclone kind of news to talk about.
I had to beg you to put it on the rundown. Deacon Hill is landed in the portal. And we had another alien sighting over the weekend that went viral. So we'll talk about all of that and more. How are you this weekend, Chris? How was the flight back? Everybody get back okay?
We were delayed for a little bit, but okay, not bad. I'm not going to complain. I saw, the latest 5-star review on our podcast was, I love the programs, love everything Iowa Everywhere stands for. Williams has such a level-headed brain on his shoulders. Hassel complains all the time, but at least it's interesting. That was the only mention of it.
It is interesting.
So I'm going to try not to complain as much.
No, keep it going.
I don't think it will work, but I'm going to consciously try.
Can we lead with that text you sent yesterday?
What?
With that guy on the flight using chopsticks?
Oh.
Really pissed me off. I mean, it really pissed me off. It ruined my day.
Let me send it to Van Winks so he can get that thing up on so we can show the people watching.
So this guy...
I couldn't believe... I had never seen that before.
Are you flying from Cedar Rapids to... what flight is that on that they're serving Chinese food?
Well, they weren't serving it on the flight.
Oh, he brought it himself.
He brought it himself, and I wasn't even in first class. This wasn't first class. This was second class. I was a second class citizen in Delta Comfort. And Van Winks, I just sent you the photo. We get on the flight late because we wanted to take as much time as possible in the Delta Sky Lounge.
You really should block this guy's face out so he doesn't.
Probably.
There
you go. So he's on here. This is right when we boarded the plane. Usually, I've noticed that people, when they bring food on, they usually don't open it up, bring it out until we get to cruising altitude. This guy was chowing down as we got on the plane, and he was just going full chopsticks with a very spicy smelly Asian dish.
Oh, spicy.
It was not something you see on a plane. And then the chopsticks, he's eating his lo mein, whatever the hell he had there. That was some kind of meat. But, Williams, you're bitching about the chopsticks.
Can I just go off on the chopsticks real quick?
Have at it.
This guy, just use a fucking fork. You're in a plane. Do you have to show everybody how sophisticated you are? Oh, I can use chopsticks. Use a fork. Why do you have to use chopsticks on the plane? Like, I get it. You're out of the Chinese restaurant and you want to, it's part of the deal. You're in this cramped area. You've got all these people around you. Now they have to smell your food. Eat the meal as efficiently as possible. Use a fork. There you go. I'm sorry. I had to say it. It really bothered me. It ruined my day yesterday.
He actually did bust out a fork after he ate the meat with the chopsticks. He used a fork for the rice. He ate all the meat first.
Gotta be kidding me. Who does this guy think he is?
But to me, like, I don't care about the chopsticks. I'm sitting there. It's the smell. Like, I would be way, way too embarrassed to bring Chinese food on a plane. I already try to avoid any kind of hot food on a plane. If I need to bring food on the plane, I will stop and I'll grab a cold sandwich because I don't want other people looking at me, upset with me. The people that bring Popeyes on the plane.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
I don't want to be that guy. This guy wanted to be that guy. He embraced being that guy.
Is he using them backwards, too? Look at that. The fat part's what he's using to eat. You're supposed to use the pointy part.
So you're telling me he busted out chopsticks on a plane and he didn't even use them right?
Yeah. That's weird.
Jeez. Now, this was our flight from Atlanta. He must have stopped at some Chinese food place in Atlanta. And another problem is we were delayed an hour on the ground. So I was trying to stop complaining. But here we go. I'm complaining about the guy with chopsticks. You're the one that brought it up. I wasn't even going to bring it up.
I nudged you.
You did. It didn't take much. So we got back late last night, smelling like Chinese food. And here we go again, another complaint. We got a rental car at the Quad Cities airport, and whoever had it before us was just smoking everything under the sun inside that car. We smelled
like weed.
I think he was smoking weed, he or she, or they, smoking weed, smoking ayahuasca, smoking cigarettes. We smelled like crap.
So you just
Smoky
sit there.
Crap.
Man, I hope that guy got fined.
I do too.
You're not supposed to do that, are you?
And it was a brand new car. It was a 2024 Audi. Beautiful car.
Audi?
Yeah.
Did you up it? You didn't just get the basic economy?
No, my wife did it. I don't know.
You know what I've noticed too is that people don't care about that. They'll pay the fine and they'll just smoke anyway.
Like what? Then they need to up the fine. What is the fine for smoking in a car?
Agree.
It's got to be at least $500.
There should be a fine for using chopsticks on an airplane. Really chaps my ass. The only reason you do that is to show everybody there how sophisticated you are. There's no other reason.
So Hertz rental car charges $400.
Okay.
But that's a snack for rich people.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends. $400 is pretty steep for smoking in a car.
I feel like we missed the point, too. It's pretty brave to do the Chinese food on the plane for other reasons as well. I mean, that stuff can go straight through you sometimes,
Oh. Yeah, I visited my my nieces and nephew in your old neck of the woods.
Oh, yeah? You go down to the Adams County Speedway, did you?
And I had forgotten that a year ago when I was there, because we do this bonfire at night, and then we tell creepy stories. I had forgotten that a year ago I told them a couple of creepy plane stories about people just totally shitting themselves. Like, and so they're like,
when you
do
say
you have
creepy,
any more stories about the people on the planes pooping all over the place?
I thought you were going to be like ghost stories and stuff. You're telling your nieces and nephews.
I think
about
that's how
people
it started
shitting
off.
Themselves?
Yeah. And then there's well, I can't get into that.
You get into anything you want, brother. We own this company.
I won't name names, but I know of a hairdresser that has a client that shits and pisses all over the place every time this person comes to get their hair done.
What?
Yes. Just leaks all over the place.
Oh, so they can't control it.
Apparently not. This has been going on years. So I told them that story last year too, and they wanted to know how that person was doing. The problem is this hairdresser does their work out of their own house.
Oh.
So it's a pretty big undertaking.
So they just walk in there, sit down in the chair, and start shitting.
It happens even before they sit down in the chair.
So this person has like an actual medical problem.
Yeah, major problem.
Really, that's too bad.
It is.
Hey, like
but those
I
are the kind of
you,
stories
Chris,
that we tell around the campfire in a good old corner.
You've chosen not to bring offspring into this world, and we respect that. And like I've told you, you don't got to worry about it, brother. Cammy and Elise, they're gonna wipe your ass for you. I already talked to them about it. They are locked in to wipe Uncle Chris's ass when needed.
Oh boy. Anywho, back to work today.
Well,
it's been
Tyrese Haliburton had himself a game.
He did. My
God.
Know,
he's been a star. Like we all know this. Yesterday, I feel like probably took him to another level because for multiple reasons. One, he was the best player on the court, and I think most people knew that. But then like there's certain athletes that just have it. You know, there's like musicians. You go to a musician, like, and you watch him on stage. Like, certain musicians have it.
Like Dojo Pop, Dojo Cat. Dojo
Maddie,
Cat
look
has
up.
it.
Yeah, Dojo Cat. Like, she's got it. Haliburton not only is just, running up and down the court, 6 of 12 from 3, 26 points, 6 assists against the Knicks in Game 7, but he's got that swagger, that style along the way. He's talking shit to fans in the front row. And then he wears the Reggie Miller sweatshirt after the game. This guy is the total package. And he's a really good dude, and I know it from experience. I got to know Tyrese pretty well during his time at Iowa State. He comes from an amazing family. His dad is the salt of the earth. I don't know his mom as well. But this guy is the total package. And it was awesome to see that moment yesterday, obviously as an Iowa Stater, but it's cool to see a really good dude have the success he's had. And it's great for the NBA. Don't you feel like the torch is finally being passed to like him and Anthony Edwards and these younger guys? It's not just waiting around on LeBron and Kevin Durant like it used to be, right? Like this is fun. This was a fun day yesterday. I was watching this over golf.
I was mostly watching golf, but I was flipping back and forth, checking on this as I was on the plane, and the guy next to me had the chopsticks. I would argue, though, what happened yesterday is not good for the NBA.
Okay, let's hear it.
It would have been better for the NBA to have the Knicks in the Eastern Conference
That's
Finals.
fine. But this is a star-driven league.
A healthier Knicks team. You're right. The Knicks don't have that superstar.
Correct.
Yeah, I think Knicks fans might push back on that with what happened in this series, multiple 40-point games, but we just too many injuries. Like, I think that in an ideal world, the NBA would have a healthy Knicks team going up against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. But
I agree.
I know your point about Haliburton and his stardom that is rising, and I think it's going to take another step because he did it at Madison Square Garden in a Game 7 in front of Spike Lee and Stephen A. Smith. That, man, ESPN's getting destroyed for the way they covered that game, by the way. It was
Why?
all
I
Knicks
didn't see that.
Well, it was all Knicks-centric, even in defeat, is what people are complaining about, and not as much about the Pacers and what the Pacers did and what Haliburton did and what he did. I mean, his shooting in this series, you go back, throw game 1 out. He was 2 for 6 in game 1. Had a bad game.
He was pretty hurt then, too. Remember, we didn't even know if he was going to play in it?
Yes. So, game 2, 11 for 19 from the field. Game 3, 14 for 26. 8 for 15, 5 for 9, 6 for 12, and finally 10 of 17 from the floor. And this isn't a guy that's just, playing in the paint, obviously. He's taking half his shots are threes.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's the attitude.
It's the swagger.
It's the trash talk, the swag, as the kids say, Riz. He's got that Riz.
Well, and then there was that whole Wally Zerbiak thing. You remember like a year and a half ago or whatever that is? And
Careful now. Wally Zerbiak's a coworker. He's a CBS guy.
Is he a CBS guy on the side? Because doesn't he work for doesn't he do color
both.
for Knicks games?
He does both.
Okay, does both.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you tell him on behalf of Cyclone Nation that I said to suck it, Wally. You see him today? Tell him that, please. Thank you.
What is Tyrese Haliburton's lasting? I don't know. What is his that when you think of him in a Cyclone uniform? What was his biggest moment as a Cyclone?
Mine will be different than most. Mine is behind the scenes stuff that most people. Let me tell you a story. This is a cool story. So, his freshman year, he comes in. At one point, they were thinking about redshirting him because you had Lindell Wigginton, and Tyrese was just this skinny kid out of Wisconsin, right? Like, he wasn't this highly touted recruit. He was like a 3-star kid. Well, Lindell Wigginton gets hurt early on. They put him in, and he's unbelievable. Like, he just is a guy that his assist turnover ratio is incredible, and you can't keep him off the floor. That's with him, Taylor Horton Tucker, like a really loaded young Cyclone team that goes to win the Big 12 tournament. Then they were beaten by Ohio State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But what I remember, so he comes back and he's the man on this team the next year. THT goes pro. They don't have Mariel Shayok. Like they're just not going to be very good. They're okay. You've got one of the best players in the league, but they're just okay. He had a big tournament down in the Bahamas. I remember that. But what I remember most is this. He got hurt, and I still remember his last play ever at Hilton Coliseum, how he went down. I thought it was way worse than it was. But he gets hurt. We all know he's going pro anyways, and it's a bad injury, and sit him out the rest of the year. His mom and dad did this for this shitty team that was going nowhere. They went to every road game and every game in Hilton Coliseum the rest of the way, even though their kid wasn't playing, because his parents were just like, we got to go and support all these other guys. And like that's the type of dude Tyrese is. That just, you can't tell everything about a person's parents, but that's how he was raised. They showed up. They're going to Waco, Texas to watch this bad Iowa State team that their son is not playing.
How bad was this team?
Matt,
this
look
wasn't
it up.
the 0-18 team.
No, this was the year before. So this was once Tyrese went down is kind of where that all started. Mm-hmm. There just wasn't much left, and you kind of knew that
the
year.
The beginning of the end of the Steve Prohm era was
Correct.
The Haliburton injury.
Yeah, when he went down, and I don't remember exactly who they were playing. I remember his last really good game in Hilton, I want to say it was against Seton Hall. They had a big win against that team. My favorite Tyrese moment is they were playing Alabama in the Bahamas. I was doing play-by-play, and he's going off. It was his 5th or 6th 3, whatever it was of the day. and he's running up and down the floor acting like he's on the phone with Jesus Christ. And we asked him after the game, what was that? He goes, I was just letting Alabama know that they better call God because that's the only person that can stop me when I get like that. So he's always had this, like, he's just fun, man. So I don't know. Like, he didn't have this illustrious career at Iowa State, but what he did have was the staying power because he was so good in the community. He, you know, he still comes back every year. He comes back, and he's been generous with the We Will Collective, I know, you know, stuff like that. So he's very much you see it too. Like, they'll have a big football win, and Tyrese will be tweeting about Iowa State. So this is still a guy that is very locked into that campus.
And a lot of Iowa connections on this part of this Pacers organization. You see the Bloom tweet last night?
I did see that. Yeah, I wasn't aware of all that.
Yeah, Bloom tweeted about all the Iowa connections, which, you know, you think of Indianapolis and you think of, Caitlin Clark on the Fever. And, you know, that's they're not even really affiliated, the Fever and the Pacers. They might root for each other. They might share the same arena. But Bloom tweets, not only did Tyrese play at Iowa State, the Pacers have more Iowa connections with Des Moines native Chad Buchanan as the general manager. And Iowa State alum Mike Bourne also in the front office. And that little bastard left out probably the key factor in this year's turnaround for the Pacers, which was the hiring of Connor McCaffrey. Didn't even mention him just because he went to Iowa.
Bloom is so biased.
He is. It's sick.
That's Caitlin Clark's boyfriend, right?
It is, yes.
Okay, just check.
It is.
So he's like on the practice squad, or like, what is his role?
Well, I was listening to Murph and Andy a couple of weeks ago had Chad Buchanan, the general manager, on the program, and they asked him, like, what does McCaffrey do? And he said that, I think it's Rick Carlisle started this when he was a coach of the, I think, Mavericks. He brings in these like area former college players to work with some of the, if a guy gets injured, and to help with scrimmaging in practices so that everybody has to be out there, because you only have, what do you have on the roster? 13 guys.
13 guys on the roster, yeah.
So you don't want these guys scrimmaging all the time. So you bring in these other dudes. So McCaffrey, like, he might, if somebody gets injured, he might be helping them work out on the side.
So he's like really like a paid scout team that trains the players.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so he's probably like running New York's offense.
Yeah, and he's helping.
Yeah, helping them prep.
Yes, but I don't know how, because he was at like every single one of Caitlin's games, so I don't know how. And that was during the NBA season.
I can't imagine that those guys are doing much during the playoffs, though. This feels like an off-season type.
No, I'm talking about the regular season. I'm talking about the regular season.
It reminded me of. It's like the Pacers have their own like Marathon Oil back there. Remember the Marathon Oil teams?
Yes.
I can hear Larry Morgan.
I can't too.
Marathon Oil
I was just thinking of add Marathon Oil to start the season off against the Iowa Hawkeyes. AC Earl.
Oh, the Raycom 90s games, man.
But
hard to beat.
About that, some Cyclone talk. I was worried. I was a little bit worried that we were going to have to do a full in-depth. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay, my camera died. I'll have to just switch to my.
You're good.
To my. See, that's a problem with these.
Let me talk about our friends at Game Day Men's Health.
No. Wait. I was worried that we were going to have to do a full segment on Royce White being the next president of the United States as our Cyclone talk for the day.
Van Winkle jumped up my ass just for reporting to Cyclone fans. Literally not endorsing anything. Royce White he's been endorsed by the GOP in Minneapolis or in Minnesota to run for Senate, and I retweeted it, and you would have thought that I came out with like a harsh stance on abortion. Matt was just pissed.
I know, he did. He's like, Williams, do you realize you just tweeted about Royce White?
He's a conspiracy
What are you doing?
theorist.
You retweeted Highway 30 directly from his account. You could have at least shared the Star Tribune article.
I'd prefer to just go to the source in that
Of
situation.
him bashing the Star Tribune for not covering him? Okay.
Jeez.
Hey, congrats, Royce. Good luck.
The
polarized, tribalistic Matt Van Winkle.
Van Winks will.
No, I said good luck.
He
I'm wishing him
will
good luck.
defend every single former Cyclone in any line of work. But when it comes to Royce White, he just.
Hey,
Unless he's a Republican.
hey, Royce.
Yeah, right.
Royce and I went to school together.
Hey, Van Winks,
Yeah, I'm
what's
sure
going
you
to
guys
happen?
sat through a lot of
former classmate.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all. Royce went to class.
He was a colleague of mine.
A col. What's going to happen if Brock Purdy comes out and endorses Royce White in Minnesota?
Just wait for my triple B.
You're going to say he's not even a top 15 quarterback.
Just wait for my triple B. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. There you go. You guys wanted Cyclone talk. Royce White's running for Senate. I want to thank our friends at Game Day Men's Health, newest sponsor here on Iowa Everywhere as we age. Chris, did you get your appointment at the Delray Beach Game Day Men's Health yet by any
No,
chance?
I haven't done that yet because I was in Iowa all week.
I'm going to take care of that for you, okay?
You're going to make
open.
my appointment for me? I
Yeah,
don't know if they'll allow it.
No, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to be like, he needs his prostate examined in depth. That's what I'm going to tell him.
Well, what do they do here? Because I thought
No,
they
it's
were
great. So you go in there.
Is it like penis enlargement?
No. Well, I don't think so. No. So I've done it. Lysico's done it. Doctorman's done it because they've got West Des Moines. That's where Chad goes. I go to Ankeny. Doctorman is over in North Liberty. They've got Game Day Men's Health clinics. So it's really easy, actually. You go in there. They take some blood. You wait about 5 minutes. And then you go and meet with the doctor, and they go over your blood results. This is all free. By the way.
Wait, hang on. Because when I need to get my blood examined by my regular doctor, it takes like a week for them to get the blood results back.
They can get like prelim results there.
Okay.
At the clinic really quick, and then they send it off and do that. And then they get like more in-depth blood results, and then they give you a call. And this is all for free, and they tell you like, hey, your testosterone levels are low or they're good or whatever, and this is what we recommend. And it's all about making guys our age and older really feel better and live longer. And
now, are you
live better
actually
lives.
being treated, or is this another lie?
No,
like when you
I am. I go there
like you got your thing snipped and you really didn't.
Yeah, I didn't need to get a vasectomy because I had IVF babies. So, but yeah, we don't need to. I didn't need to get snipped. But I was an actor. I was a paid actor. Do you realize who you're? I'm like acting royalty. I beat Sipker out.
Yeah.
I'm 100. Every time I've ever gone up against Scott Sipker to get a role in anything, I've beaten him out. Did you know that?
I did. I love it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
all that guy wants to be is an actor.
Yeah, and I never even wanted to be an actor. I just wanted to be a sportscaster, and I was just doing the acting thing for fun, and I still beat him out.
Amazing.
So anyway, yeah, I'm going there, and they're doing great work, and I think it's a good thing for all these guys who are paying attention here. Again, Game Day Men's Health, West Des Moines, Ankeny, and for those in Eastern Iowa, over in North Liberty, and you can look around. They're all over the country too.
For those in Delray
Beach, Florida, baby. Real quick, so let's touch on the Iowa men's team because we did miss that they got a transfer last week. I don't think we ever talked about it.
Yeah, they did.
And then let's talk about Peyton Sanford as well because we think he's probably going to lean to come back. But here's what's weird about the Sanford deal. Everybody always talks about how shitty Iowa basketball's NIL is.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Brad Heinrichs himself told us that they only get 10% of the Swarm fund last week.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these scenarios, like a guy like Samford on the open market would have been worth close to $1 million, I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, somewhere between a half
Add
mil and
that
a mil.
shooter
Yeah.
to Kansas. Like,
And
whatever.
He was asked about that recently, and he said he would rather show loyalty to.
That's great, and I
the
love
people
it.
that
And
believed in him.
I hope Iowa fans reward him for that. Iowa State's got that with Taman Lipsey, right? Like, he would have been worth that. Keyshawn Gilbert would have been worth all these guys. I guess my point is what's interesting about the Samford conversation, because a lot of these guys, we say, well, they would make more money coming back to college than going and playing in the G League or whatever. I don't know if that's necessarily the case here, but I definitely think Samford has the ability, as we saw him kick it into gear last year. Where my analysis on him last year was this guy's a pro, but he's being asked to do too much. Like, he's not able to do what he's really good at because he's having to do too much on that team. Well, if he comes back next year, is he more ready for that role? Because I don't think that's really going to change unless Josh Dix goes to a completely other level, which I think he's capable of. I don't know. This is an interesting scenario because I do still think Samford could be a late first-round pick. It's possible.
I don't know. I don't think so. Not after the performance that he had last week.
Tough combine.
Talking to people that were there for CBS, he was completely overmatched. Both days of the games, he was airballing shots, no confidence, and was not on the same level as pretty much everyone else out there on the court. And the guys I talked to said it's absolutely going to cost him. And they didn't see any way that he could be a first-round pick after that performance.
So no guaranteed money, and we think he'll come back then.
And that's but it's to him, clearly it's not about money because he could get that somewhere else. Not at Iowa, but somewhere else. So if I based on what I heard and how things have gone with other players that have been in this sort of situation and had those kind of performances and get docked for that, I would, if I had to put money on it right now, I would say Samford's going to come back. Okay. Unless he's got some team that just, we're going to guarantee that we're going to take you, we're going to bring you, and doesn't matter how you play. He's going to work out for several teams. But, boy, after that performance, I just don't know. So I would say there's a better chance than not right now that he comes back. And that would be
They may not be terrible next year then,
no.
honestly. Yeah, they got a shot.
Especially after the two transfers they brought in.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest guy, Seydou Traore from Manhattan.
Good pronunciation. Well done.
And I think it's Seydou Traore. I think the emphasis is on the or.
Or.
Yes. Seydou Traore. They missed out on some guys. And I think Fran McCaffrey accidentally stumbled into a guy who could play defense. This guy can actually play some defense. Averaged over a block a game. Look, he's not 6'10", 6'11". He's 6'7" or so. But it's a guy, look, this is kind of what I was
he's
asking
playing against
for.
Kansas. He's playing in Fog Allen.
Yeah.
He can't be that bad.
He's young. This is a guy you could get in there and
Fran's a developer.
This isn't just this isn't a Ben Crickey type thing where he's just going to come in for 1 year. This is a guy who was a freshman last year, and he was on the all-conference freshman team. It's one of the worst conferences in the country, the MAAC, and Manhattan was not good, even in that conference.
So you're saying he's one of the best freshmen on one of the worst teams in the worst conference in America?
Yes, but
just checking, make sure I got that right.
I was asking for something like this. So I'm happy with this get because the guy will play both ends. He's not – it seems like everybody that McCaffrey has recruited, especially in the portal, is a guy that is just a good shooter. He's good on offense. This guy's not a good shooter. He's less than 30% from three.
Fran just likes to stay comfortable in the portal. Guys that he knows will fit,
But I think this
they
time
don't really,
they don't have any
Good
money,
point.
so they couldn't get some of these guys that he really wanted, so they had to settle for this other guy who just so happens he's not as good of a shooter, but he's better on defense. I like it.
No, good stuff. Actually, I mean, if Samford's back, you look at their roster, it's like,
I think they
may be okay. You know,
Yeah, I think if Samford comes back, they could be another, like this past season, a team that's on the bubble.
Those freshmen from last year are going to have to take a step forward, but that's the case with because Iowa.
I think they would though.
They have to. I mean, that's the only way.
Freeman's got to get better on the defensive end.
Yeah, I wasn't even really counting him, but I was more talking about like Samford's brother, and then what's the point guard's name?
Brock Harding.
Yeah, Brock Harding. Yeah, take another step.
He didn't get a ton of playing time, especially toward the end of last season. But yeah, he's got some potential.
He could be okay, I think. I mean, he's never going to be all conference, but you know what he is, and I think Fran, he's the type of guy that Fran could just mold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Anyways, let's do bigger, better, bolder.
Bigger, better, bolder.
Manufacturing.
Bigger, better, bolder. Powered by Kelderman Manufacturing.
I want to start, and this is in honor of my buddy Jeff Kelderman because I know he'll love this one. Did y'all watch the race last night down in North Wilkesboro?
I did not.
Yes.
I did not watch, but I saw it explode on social media.
So here's what happens. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., little background. I know most of you don't watch racing. He's a dirt racer. So he's like a legendary open wheel, like sprint car
Is
driver.
he the one that used to date Danica Patrick?
Yeah, he did it. He did date Danica Patrick. In fact, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is a cool dude. I drank a beer with him in the Dingus Lounge one year down in Knoxville. Him and Danica were there, and they could not have been more awesome. Like there was hardly anybody in there because I don't know. Sometimes when I go to Knoxville, I don't ever even go to the race until the final race because I don't care about like qualifying and all that crap. And I was at the Dingus
Qualifying?
Stop it. Those two are in there, and Ricky's just a really cool, down to earth. He's a dirt racer, right? Well, Kyle Busch he's kind of a geek, you know. He's this really rough driver that he's just mouthy. He's not real likable. And for 20 years, there's been a lot of people who have been wanting to whoop his ass in NASCAR. I can promise you that. Well, Kyle Busch wrecked Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the second lap of a 200-lap race last night, okay? Well, they're at this track, Chris, that it's so – like normally if that happens, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would just leave. He would just they'd just fly him home, and he would be home by the end of the race. Well, at North Wilkesboro, there's no, like, tunnel underneath to get out. Like, so he was trapped there.
Oh,
and,
so like for his trailer to get out?
Yeah. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. says after the race, he parks his car, he goes up to Kyle Busch's pit crew and says, hey, let him know I'm going to be waiting for him when this race is over. I'm going to whoop his ass. And he goes and does media, and he's telling everybody who will listen, yeah, I'm going to whoop his ass after the race. Paraphrasing it. And Matt, see if you could pull up, there's a picture of Kyle Busch walking to his trailer after the race with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just standing there waiting for him. And some bitch whooped his ass right after the race. He called his shot. He did everything he said, and it went pretty viral on Twitter after the race. It was
I saw. I looked. There was like 10 different angles because everybody was waiting for it. All the camera people.
Well, normally these guys, like, he waited 200 laps. That's a long time. I mean, he had all this time to cool off.
Did he really kick his ass, though?
He got a good shot in.
I know he swung at him. Did he
hit him.
Connect?
Yeah, he hit him. A lot of people were saying he didn't. He connected. I don't think it was like 100% connection, but it was pretty close.
But then after that, all the other guys stepped in, so there really wasn't a throwdown after that.
Buddy of mine, Ryan, made a good point on Twitter. He tweeted at me that Yeah, this is Kyle Busch walking, and
Look at
look,
him
you
just
can
standing
see
there.
you can see Ricky just standing there, waiting for him. And I said he had to have put on the tightest T-shirt he has.
Yeah.
Like, he's been in the hauler doing push-ups, getting ready for this moment.
Bunch of curls.
Oh, yeah, just wanting to look as buff as possible. And look at this. Kyle Busch says one too many words. Ricky's trying to let him talk his way out of this. And Busch knows what's coming. Boom! And I promise you, like, in the garage, like, Ricky's probably the one or two guys that nobody really wants to fight because he's actually been in these dirt track fights before that. Like, Kyle Busch probably never been in a real fight in his life, and you can tell when he's trying to swing back and stuff. Anyways, it was awesome.
That was great. I want more of that. Give me more of that.
And then,
I'll start,
NASCAR was out promoting it. They were promoting it.
That's what I liked about it. Because
They're like, hell
a
yeah.
lot of leagues would not do that. They would just
yeah.
immediately put out a statement about how they how they do not promote this and how this isn't the way we want to be represented.
A lot of people are asking me on social media, like, Chris, why are you celebrating this? This is your favorite sport. Like, we wouldn't celebrate this in a basketball game. I'm like, yeah, it's different. And I can't put it's just different. Like, I've been calling dirt races for 20 years. Like, we fight, people get pissed off and you fight in the infield. It's what happens. It's not always great. Sometimes we got to go to jail, but Kyle Busch will think twice before running his mouth against this guy again. I can promise you. What are you laughing about, Van Weeks?
I just love how they tweeted, "Fight, fight," and they tweet a video.
Oh, it was great.
Funny.
My girls were watching. It's a great example for my
What
kids.
a great example to set for your little girls. Van Winks, who do you have for your Triple B?
Oh boy, the Purdy to Kittle connection.
Jesus,
has continued
how many
into the
times are you
offseason.
going to give Brock Purdy your Triple B?
You guys catch this? Hey, Williams.
Yeah, that's Luke Combs right there.
Is Luke
isn't it?
Combs? Give me your opinion on him.
Oh, I love Luke
Is he
Combs.
cool? Is he cool?
Yeah, I love Luke Combs. He's probably the best modern guy to come around in 10 years.
So Luke Combs played back-to-back nights at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. And Saturday night, Brock Purdy and George Kittle showed up on stage, and Brock's got a 24-pack of Bud Light. Bud Light,
that's that liberal beer.
and he's just chucking them over to Kittle, and Kittle's doing the Stone Cold smashing the beers together.
So
love it.
I didn't even know Brock could shotgun a beer, to be honest.
I don't think he did.
He did.
I was gonna say.
I don't think he drank.
There's no way.
I think Kittle did the shotgunning, and Purdy did the toss.
English.
Let's see, he just tosses them to him.
That's pretty cool.
Can you name a Luke Combs song there, Hassel?
Well, he sang that knockoff
Fast
song.
Car.
Yeah,
Fast Car, yeah.
isn't Fast Car that knockoff song from
Tracy
that
Chapman.
woman?
He stole Tracy Chapman's song, yeah.
And he sings that song about his brother going out to California and getting in a motorcycle accident and killing himself.
Jeez.
He's got a new song in the Twisters movie, too.
Oh, I heard that one. I don't like that song. It kind of sucks. Is that
English?
Twisters?
English says they're drinking woke light out on the stage.
Is that why? Look, that's why
why
Purdy
Van
didn't
Winkle-
drink it.
Hey,
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
I can get a chance to fit in my boy Brock Purdy into Triple B, I'm all
I'm
over
telling
it.
you, you're cruising for a bruising, pal.
Who do you got, Hassel? Triple B.
I am going to go with Kate Martin, former Iowa player who's now with the Las Vegas Aces. Some were wondering, is she really going to play much for the back-to-back champs? Well, she got in on Saturday in a tight win against the Sparks and played some big minutes, some important minutes, and made some big plays. She scored her first points. She had 5 rebounds. She had 3 assists, 26 minutes. And there were some viral moments in that game because she rejected somebody's shot, and that's the picture right there. And Kelsey Plum's in the background. That was all over my Twitter feed over
Plum
the
was
weekend.
loving her
Plum.
up at interviews, too,
Oh,
after
yeah.
the game, talking her up big time.
They love her on that team. And this is going to lead us into a little bit larger of a conversation, but did you hear what's going on with the Aces?
They've been cheating.
No, not
allegedly.
Really. So Kate Martin makes, I think, $70,000 or so.
Yeah.
As a member of the Aces, she has a deal now where she'll make more than twice that much just for being a member of the team. The Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority announced a deal where they're going to pay every player on the team $100,000 this season and next season. Every player gets the same amount. It's basically NIL for a professional team. But the league is investigating this because is it fair? Should this go against the salary cap?
This is fascinating.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because what this is going to do is this gives them an advantage in free agency as well. Everybody's going to want to go play there because you can, boom, double your salary just by being a part of that team. But is it fair?
No, it's not.
But how do you stop it?
I don't know.
It's an endorsement.
This has happened in other sports.
How is that
before.
any different than just a regular endorsement?
I don't know.
Other than the fact that you're paying every player on the team the same amount.
That's the issue. I mean, because Plum is not – she's worth more than
Okay, so what if they say, all right, we'll give Kelsey Plum $105,000 and we'll give Kate Martin $95,000.
This has happened in others. This has been a thing in other sports. I read a book about the English Premier League. I mean, this used to be a big deal back in the day. I don't know.
This
not
would
saying
not
that they
be an
shouldn't.
issue if it was the NBA.
What if it was?
It wouldn't be an issue if it was the NBA because the salary cap is so high, players are making so much money. This wouldn't even be a blip.
I think the women deserve the money if they're. I don't know how the WNBA deals with this, other than they're all going to be making more money if these TV games keep pulling in the ratings and stuff like that.
Because if this is allowed, then you're going to have other, whether it's a company or
you're telling me like some company in Chicago wouldn't put up $1 million.
They're going to jump on. But so what? I mean, I guess you run the risk of having it be more of the haves and have-nots, and then
you don't want this to be like college athletics.
Then the problem is you've got Connecticut, which is by far the smallest market, and who's going to pay them in Connecticut?
You've got to have the parity in the professional sports. I mean, that's you just have to have it.
So how do you work this in a way that makes it fair?
It's weird because this is like the first time this has really come up. Because like you said, in professional sports, this isn't even an issue. But with the rise of the WNBA, it's a trending league. Like, you're not going to see this in minor league sports, most likely. Those guys don't make very much money.
And in minor leagues, they're just there to serve the parent team.
Sure.
Right? Like
maybe you see this overseas in like soccer teams. Maybe they get, you
have
companies that endorse players and stuff like that.
If you're going to go play in this Spanish league instead, you get like whatever. I don't know the answer to it. I think it's a really fascinating topic.
Does it make a difference to you that it's not McDonald's and that it's the actual city paying them?
No. That doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care where the money's coming from. They're worth it. It's their name, image, and likeness.
They're worth it. If someone's willing to pay it, they're worth it. The question is,
I actually think it's cool that the city's showing we want to get behind it.
So what should the WNBA do?
I hadn't thought enough about it.
Because if the WNBA could say, well, I guess if they shut this down, then the Visitors Bureau could say, okay, well, can we pay Kelsey Plum $500,000?
And then it would be within the rules, right? It's because of it's deemed as.
But then how does that? That's still going to be a problem in free agency because
this is just like NIL. You're right. It's just like NIL in college.
It is.
This is the exact same thing we're talking about here. And this is going to be the new model of college athletics. They're all going to have these set salaries that are going to be lower than what they're getting now. And then you're going to have these collectives in the background.
Adam says the Vegas Tourism Board are a bunch of communists since they're giving every single player the same amount of money.
Van Winkle will love that.
He's a big commie?
Huge commie.
Really?
I could have told you that years ago.
I know.
He doesn't even come on and defend himself. He's like, yeah. So a buddy of mine, I won't name his name, but I always give him shit. He's huge into politics and stuff, and we are always just screwing around. And I always call him a communist, and he always go, no. He goes, I'm a Western European communist.
The hell does that mean?
Means like he's a communist, but not like a Russia communist. He believes like what the Greeks do and stuff like that.
Because I'm like Western European is. Like,
I think
you
that's
could argue
like
that's
Greece.
Okay,
Isn't that
so
like
you're
Greece
talking like,
yeah,
okay. Not Eastern European.
Yeah,
I'm
Eastern
an
Europeans.
Eastern European communist. I'm a
that would
member
be like
of the
your
Soviet
bloc.
bloc.
Okay, so
Jeff says his new nickname is Matty Van Marks.
Real quick, Deacon Hill found a home. Good for Deacon. The former Iowa starting quarterback, who was the number one quarterback at Iowa like a month ago, is going to Utah Tech.
Have you heard of Utah Tech?
I've heard of Utah.
Yeah? You've heard of Utah State because that's where Petrus went.
It looks like they have a nice stadium.
What?
Based on Deacon's post, it looks like Utah Tech has a nice field.
What are you talking about? You can see it in that picture.
Yeah.
You're just being an ass.
It's got turf.
Well, yeah, it does.
I told you that he wasn't going to play D1.
This is D1.
The United Athletic Conference.
I'm sorry to break it to you, pal, but
D1.
this is Division I football.
Come on.
Can you
Utah
Tech? Can you name the other teams in the United Athletic Conference?
Football. Well, I did some research on it yesterday, so you shouldn't ask me. But
Williams?
Anybody? No, I didn't even know Utah Tech was a thing.
This is a team transitioning into Division I. They were not Division I a few years ago. I think this will be their third year in Division I in FCS. Okay, so they've played Northern Iowa. It used to be called Dixie State, and then I think they almost got canceled because you can't say Dixie anymore. Like the Dixie Chicks dropped the.
So they're in Utah and they use the word Dixie?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Uh-huh. And they went, I believe, 2-9 last season. And Deacon Hill is just going to throw it around the yard in FCS.
Good for him.
Look, I thought maybe a MAC team would give him a flyer just because he's got an arm. He started Big Ten games.
Well, he's got an arm, all right.
But my God. And this guy was better than anybody else on the roster after Cade?
I had another source reach out to me over the weekend. They heard Thursday's show, and they said, Williams, you're spot on with what your source was telling you. Apparently, every other quarterback on Iowa's roster can't even, take a snap.
Which,
it's
again,
insane.
What is more of an indictment on Ferentz? Would it be him playing Deacon Hill despite the fact that there are better guys behind him? Or is it having to play Deacon Hill because the other guys that you recruited and brought onto the team are somehow even worse? What's worse?
Took the kids to the Iowa Event Center.
I'm asking you. You didn't even answer the question.
Well, I thought that was just a open.
No, I want you to answer it. What's worse?
It's the latter.
The fact that Deacon Hill was the best backup quarterback on the roster.
Yeah, the fact that all these other guys are worse than him. Like how? Like it's just
I know.
It just shows how blind they were when it comes to scouting these guys and bringing them in
and developing.
Yeah, like it's an indictment on the whole system. Not.
Oh, we got an answer at why it was Dixie State. Paul says Dixie because it was in the Mojave Desert in Utah, where early settlers. Now I don't know if this is true or not, but he says when early settlers could grow cotton like in the Southeast, the nickname Dixie stuck in the area. No idea if that's true, but thank you, Paul.
Took my kids to watch some country music on Friday night at the Iowa Event Center. That was pretty cool. Watched Cody Johnson and Justin Moore. My 9-year-old, Chris, she knew every word to every song Justin Moore sang. Just yelled him the whole time.
I hope he doesn't have any curse words in there.
He doesn't, but he would probably, let's just say he fits right in with the word Dixie.
Oh.
Very Southern. A lot of...
He's a Confederate?
I mean, I don't know if I would call him that, but I wouldn't be shocked if he would fly that flag. I mean, based on his lyrics. The other big news from the weekend, this was in Portugal.
Oh, God.
And these people are just driving home, night out on the town, and watch on your screen. Hold on, I don't think Van Winkle has it ready here. Come on, you knew we were going to it.
Jesus Christ,
it's the breaking news of the weekend, and this light flashes across the sky. And they got a really good video of it, and we're going to show it to you here momentarily on Iowa Everywhere.
How does Van Winks not have this video, considering he's the one who sent it to the group chat last night?
He said, we must talk about this.
Here we go.
Here, look at this.
Look at that.
Look at this. Right in front of him.
Okay, so you're going to try to say that this was an alien spacecraft crashing?
I'm trying to say that I don't know what it was.
Well,
and I'm trying to say that all these people, including Elon Musk himself and Twitter, are trying to say, oh, it was a meteor. Calm down, everybody. And my whole point is, open your eyes. That's exactly what they want us to think. Okay? If it's the first thing they tell you, you need to critically think about it. They.
It's just a meteor. What's the big deal? It's cool. It looks cool.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I guess I'm not 100% sure, but that's what the scientists are saying, right?
Yeah. Scientists. Who pays them?
Are you trying to say that aliens fund the scientists?
No, I'm trying to say the government does in many scenarios.
The government funds the scientists.
It's just like the NFL, those concussion doctors for the NFL. Of course, concussions, they don't cause CTE.
What is it called? Yeah.
Follow the money.
Community notes. It says it was simply a meteorite, a natural event that occurs thousands of times each year. While they can be spectacular to witness, they are not uncommon and are well documented by astronomers. Now, are astronomers also funded by the government?
Some of them.
And which government? The government of Portugal, where this was?
Those rotten Portuguese. I'm just saying, it's just funny, all these elitists on Twitter are like, oh, it was a meteor. Yeah, that's what they told you. All I'm saying is open your eyes. This stuff is happening more and more often. You don't know.
I think a UFO would have been flying a little faster than that, though.
I think it would have been more. I think it would have been more subtle too. I don't think this was a UFO. I think if a UFO was coming, it would have hidden itself a little bit more.
Yeah,
that's what they want you to think.
You're damn right.
My dad with a very heartfelt message here on the program.
Yeah, let's end with this. This is great.
What does this say? Hi, all. Two guys, lovers. Back is doing good. Each day a little better. Exclamation point.
Doing better.
I really think the flowers Williams sent me has helped in my recovery. Looking at them every day has helped me in numerous ways.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you, Williams. Williams, you were the only person that sent a care package to my dad.
Are you serious?
The only one.
I wish I would have done more then.
You're like Schindler from Schindler's List.
Hey, I sent him a hat months ago, and he just shit all over me. So I'm not
the
sending
death
him
trap cap. That one's in the
why do you
garbage
think he's in the hospital?
Yeah, he's walking. He said he walked on his own without a walker a full half mile yesterday outside.
Oh, that's great. Good for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hell of a turnaround in the week.
It really is.
Yeah.
On his back for 48 hours.
Jeez. Well, good job, Don. We love you, buddy. We got to get going. I have an appointment at 10. I know you got to get to work as well.
Oh, you going to get your erectile dysfunction checked out?
Not today.
How about Van
Gotta
Winks
go get
just
my-
hovering
gotta go
on
get-
that last show? Just hovering on it. That place does so many other things, and all Van Winks hovered on and circled was erectile dysfunction treatment for you.
Maybe someday. If I had real erectile dysfunction, I would let them give me the shot.
Oh, yeah, because you said that for erectile dysfunction, they just give you a shot into your tip, and then you're just hard 24/7?
I don't know exactly how it works. You'd have to ask the doctors there at Game Day Men's Health. I don't know exactly how that. There's somebody watching right now, though, who's really uncomfortable because they have it, and you guys are making fun of them, and that's not what we're here to
I'm
do.
not making fun of erectile dysfunction. I'm merely pointing out that Van Winks has just – wait, is this guy's name Ed Ankeny, or is it Ed in Ankeny?
ED, erectile dysfunction in Ankeny.
Yeah, I'm getting your form filled out, by the way. You see your name down there?
Hello, my name is – oh, yeah. My name's Ed, and I live in Ankeny.
And I have erectile
And I got a shot right into my tip last week, and I've been hard ever since.
This is Chris from Delray Beach, Florida. Man, we got to do a commercial for these guys.
We do.
We'll knock it out of the park. All right, thanks to Van Winks for producing. Chris Hassel, I'm Chris Williams. We will be back on Thursday.